Alright, finally someone actually submitted a VOD to be reviewed. Amazing. Fortunately, it's a Widow VOD. Me and my, 10 hours of Widowmaker will be extremely useful for this. No, but, I mean, this. I watched some of this already. Um, for this, like, initial thing is actually pretty good. I mean, your aim is obviously not the problem. That's one thing that's pretty clear. It's a lot of like just well, not a lot, but just some minor decision making and mistakes. Their soldier is an idiot. Why did he just randomly jump? Um, a lot of this opening is pretty good. I would say for the most part, you play fairly safe. You play with the team. I think for the most part, that's pretty good. Your team does get a little too aggro, I think, in this part, but a lot of this you just like dominate the enemy widow. There isn't too many things you could have done differently in this beginning part. That's why I'm just like letting it play out. There's nothing really too much to say. Um, because ultimately, your sightlines are kind of limited in this early part. You really just only have the option of main. Any high ground positions you could take really just run the risk of you getting shot by the enemy widow. And I personally, as a bad widowmaker, prefer to not necessarily take those kind of duels unless I have some sort of advantage. And because your options are so limited in where you can actually stand, she kind of knows where you're going to be, which means you don't really have much of an advantage. Defensive advantage for Widowmaker is mostly in that you could be kind of anywhere, and the attacker usually is limited in where they can position. Like just looking at, because this is almost a good example. Like if the fight was in the courtyard, you could be in this window, you could be in the other window, you could be anywhere in this the middle part of between the windows. You could be on the low ground between the two doors. Any number of positions where there's random debris in the courtyard, you could be in. Whereas the attackers literally only have about three options. They could be right here, which is really more of a Hanzo position. This is kind of bad for Widowmaker. She could be here or on this high ground, or she could be on the coast. She has three options. You have like six, seven, eight options of where you could stand, and they'd all be good. Or you could just stand, or you could just stand like behind Rain Shield in any given part of it. So defenders have generally positional advantage, and when we're talking like Widow v Widowmaker, the most important thing is knowing where the enemy Widow is going to be. The other issue being of like, if the defender usually is already scoped in and ready to take a shot, whereas the attacker has to like peek around a corner, find you, and then shoot. So defender almost always has an inherent advantage of that first shot. But it's still a matter of knowing where the enemy was going to be and when they're going to peek out. But when you're more limited on sightlines, or you just really just have this corridor, you lose a good amount of that advantage. So there is no really better way to play this. I mean, you could hold all the way back here to take advantage of the Widowmaker, but this is obviously ladder. Like, no one gives a shit. Um, well, this actually was good, and we did do this once in one of the SSL games, or Jesters, I suppose now, but back then it was SSL. Um, for Rialto, we actually played not the bridge corner that you normally would play. We actually played the last corner you can hold, and we just had a like I think it was Tosh at the time. Actually, yeah, I think it was Tosh. He just held back his Widowmaker like all the way back on those arches, and we just like had him sniping the entire courtyard. Because how do you dive that? And you could do that here. That would be an interesting way to play it, because if you lose here, do you really get a second contest? Maybe not. It's a little iffy. So if you just hold the courtyard, it's like a way better positional advantage for Widow. But again, this is ladder. It's kind of irrelevant. You have to play with the team playing. So this is where you're gonna be. Um, yeah, like the only other thing you do is do more trick shots like that. But every time you do it, you lose grapple, and they do have a lot of divey characters, so you gotta be very careful about that. But like it could have bit you in the ass, like when that Winston dove you, and you didn't quite have grapple yet, but it was like 1 second away, so you still managed to grapple away. Um, the fact that Widow finally managed to shoot you isn't like, I think she just, I don't, actually, where is she? Was she down mid? That's actually a good question. Wait a minute. Or did she go around coast? Okay, wait, she's right. Okay, she's mid. Oh, she has vision. Okay. That explains a lot. So, this is like, this is a mistake then, I'm going to say, because she had vision. She pops vision. I mean, at this point, I can kind of see what would happen because you did dominate her so far on this map. She's like, the enemy would have done practically nothing. She probably just got ult from literally feeding off like Roadhog. Um, but you should respect the vision and play safer. You probably thought you weren't in line of sight because I think she just managed to just squeeze right through mid. But it would have been smart then to respect it a little bit more and definitely play outside her sight lines until vision ended. Um, in this situation, you probably should have been coast. You could have been coast and playing like right where the supports are, like behind them, and shooting through here so you can still shoot the enemy team. And Widow's fucking off over there. And sure, she sees you and she knows who's at, but again, her ability to peek you was limited because where is she going to come from? Again, it could only be here, or it's going to be somewhere around this building. And it's pretty well easily within all of your sight lines, and you could probably pop her before she popped you, even though she has vision. Like that still would be a pretty winnable condition, and you could still be useful by shooting the enemy. That would have been your best way to just like reposition her away, but you don't have grapple anyway, so it's like. So at that point, you just probably just play super safe. Maybe you can't get all the way to the coast, but you just I don't know any way to. Of course, your whole team gets grabbed and nailed down anyway, but. Respect the vision would be like basically the first mistake, but you might have thought you were safe and she just managed to thread the needle. And did she still have vision? Or was that just unfortunate? I don't think, no, she shouldn't have vision still, right? I wouldn't think so. But this is then just a matter of, I mean, there's a couple things. So this goes into like, okay, so we're just talking about defender's advantage. Technically now she's the defender. Like defender is basically in this situation whoever gets to stand there first. Um, we'll say defenders because normally it'd be you, but because you lost the fight, you are now technically attacking because you're trying to retake the point or the payload, as it were. So she could just stand there. And once again, how many places do you have to come from? You have this window, you have that window, you have. Well, she'll see you the mid, so you can't get to the mid without crossing the two windows, and you have the two doors on the low ground. If you were the enemy widow, where do you think you're going to show up? Obviously, you're going to show out of this window. Like most people are going to come out of this window. Even not widow is going to come out of this window. Almost everyone does this, or at least the left low ground. It's just super obvious. So even if she doesn't have vision, she already has the mouse there waiting for someone to pop their head. So don't be so predictable, especially when your whole team is dead, right? Like they all died, and you died first. I think you were the first to die. They all got grabbed, so they're not really too far behind you. But you're gonna get like Reinhardt beat you only because he has charge. He's faster than you. So let the team regroup for one, because this is the other issue. Like keep in mind Widow is like any good Widow, any Widow who has any idea what the fuck they're doing is mostly going to be concerned about enemy Widow. That's really their main threat, especially in the comp you're running. She literally only has to worry about you. I guess there's Genji, but this is like again now we're in the courtyard and that's massive sightlines, so Genji ain't doing shit. Genji had to go on a super long flank to do anything to their Widow, and it's a Genji in ranked, so he ain't doing shit to the Widow. He's just gonna try and farm Blade and Mercury. Fuck, he already used Blade, obviously, and the whole team got grabbed, so I'm guessing, like, he's just, yeah. Then again, maybe grab was countered to Blade, I don't know, fuck it, I don't care. We don't give a shit what Genji's doing. He's probably not gonna do anything useful. So, like, wait for your team to show up, and then when enemy Widow starts seeing your team, she's gonna start shooting at him, and then boom, you appear and shoot enemy Widow. Because, again, going back to advantages, she could be anywhere right now. You have no idea where the fuck enemy Widow is, because she has the entire courtyard to stand in. She could be on any of the debris. I mean, I would guess she's coast corner. That's the most logical place she'd be. But she could just be behind Reinhardt's shield. What the fuck else is she gonna do? Like, she's super safe if she just stands behind Reinhardt's shield. She's immortal then. So don't peek this right now. Like, the vision, if she still has it, is irrelevant. Don't peek this night now. Wait for your team to show up. Wait for her to take a shot. Because once you start shooting, it's way easy to figure out where the hell she is. If the fight's already started, if she was standing behind Reinhardt's shield, Reinhardt might drop his shield, because he doesn't want to fucking hold shield all day. Don't be the first one out. So you're thinking you can get an early pick by surprise, but enemy Widow is already waiting for you. There is no surprise. The only surprise you could have is peering in a place she wouldn't expect, which would probably be down here. This would be like the least likely place you would ever show up, because it's the worst place to show up. But even though it's the worst, you might still have an angle on any one of her team. It could pop one of them and then just run away. Honestly, you just back up at that point. You pop one and back up. They can't res it anyway, and then your team shows up and wipes them because it's 5v6. But going in first like this, bad idea. And she wasn't even coast. She was up here, which is a little surprising, but like that's kind of the point. Like, she could have been anywhere. Like, your Roadhog was already here, which is surprising. And like, she would have just started farming off Roadhog, and then you could have popped up and shot her in between her shots.
Let's try that again.
Oh yeah, and I believe this is also kind of a mistake of like, let's recontest this. No, honestly, I mean Reinhardt's trying to do it too, but like, he actually manages to back up. I think. Oh no, he does. Like, you're not recontesting this. No way. You should have stayed back. Now they get free push. Like, now you lose probably your best defensive position, which is the first high ground around the corner. Now they're going to be around that corner by the time you get back. Like, right here would have been your best position, but now you can't take it. I mean, Reinhardt would have fed anyway, but at the very least, if you could have just not gone in, started standing here, maybe you pop some people around the payload, as it turns around. Maybe their Widow peeks you, because she's going to want to, like, I'm going to go in, kind of like what you did, is like, I'm going to go in early and try and see if I can get someone walking back. You might have been able to punish that. But now you have to hold basically a worse position and get tons of free push. It was an opportunity to maybe get some picks and stop their advance. Honestly, like, this is where things get a little funky, and it's like hindsight and weirdness. I would have probably gone with the YOLO flank, like go full pine. Cause wait, let's look at our cooldowns here. Like, wait, what did you use hook on anyway? Okay, so you don't have hook now. Like, you shouldn't have done that. Save grapple. Just walk here, drop down behind them, start shooting, and then if someone actually does pressure you, grapple up. The flank probably would have been the best bet. They're already around this corner. There isn't a whole lot you can do on this corner. And if you could, because you're already like thinking about it, right? Like, you're already doing this rotation. Because your best opportunity would have been at the start of the fight to get some picks, but you're out of the fight right now. You've come so far, you should have just committed to it and try to kill the enemy Widow from behind, and you probably would have succeeded if you had just taken it. I mean, you can't see her right now, obviously, but this probably would have made sense. They're already full committed in the fight. You're actually hearing like cooldowns, or not cooldowns, but ultimates fire. The fight started. Go on the flank. Go on the yellow flank. If you want to be super aggressive, you could have grappled. Like, if you had saved grapple, you could have grappled to this high ground and started shooting. But honestly, probably not super necessary. I would have saved it just to get back, in case they're probably their Genji or Moira like actually peels, hard peels, and tries to kill you. Just grapple out. But you probably could have easily picked off the enemy Widow here and then maybe gotten the supports too. That would have been super, super aggressive, but probably worth it. Probably the best thing you could have done. Because your sightlines over here suck because they can play this corner so well that all of their supports will be in cover. A Widow obviously is not going to be there unless she wants to get super aggro, and so far she doesn't. She will probably when she pops her ult, because she's about to do it. But I think that yellow would work really well. Because now you're trapped in the building SMGing. And you get pushed by a Moira. Which that was kind of that was definitely a bad time to use your ult. Like, you used it basically like you saw him. Oh, okay, wait. Let's go through this. Let's go through what you probably were deciding. Okay. Presumably, you used it because you thought the Moira would push you and you could pop her around the corner because you could see her around the corner. That's what I'm guessing what happened, and then you just happened to miss. I guess that makes sense. Still, I think the issue more is like if you look at the start of the fight, it's a little hard to tell because obviously you were busy, but try and pay attention to the kill feed as much as possible because you have 2 picks. This fight is won, presumably. So even if you died on Moira, you should still win. And even then, you really, well, I wouldn't say you shouldn't die on Moira. Moira will fuck you up if you can't kill her. If you can't get that headshot, she's gonna fuck you up. But honestly, it's still a waste of ult. Like, and the fact that you missed, like hindsight, it's especially bad because you missed. But even ignoring the hindsight, like that, you had 2 picks. Like your team actually won the fight without you, which is because you didn't really do anything. You didn't do anything there. At best, maybe you've distracted the Moira, but I think the fight was probably over even before that. I just don't even know what the hell the Moira's doing up here. But yeah, the Infrasight was not really needed. The fight was won. But at this point, I would be trying to go to the actual good position. This is pretty, like, this is super limited sightlines. Though it is surprising, so I will give it that. This is not an expected position, because their Widow might grapple here, and you could just pop her. Honestly, their Genji should be pushing you harder. Like, in this position, like, Genji could be going in this window and fucking you up. I don't know why he's not. It's kind of, this is kind of like part of the reasons why this positioning just isn't as good. Is your sight lines are extremely limited, but also, like, you can be flanked. And they have a flanker to do it, and they just choose not to. A better Genji would be punishing you a lot more. Once again, that's too early. Like, you've won the fight. Why are you popping it now? Like, you want to pop this at the start of the next fight. You want them to either, like, you want them to be, like, grouped and ready to push, and then you pop that sightline, and then it's like, do we push into this? Or do we wait 15 seconds? 10 seconds? Whatever the hell length it is. And then, like, respect the Widow. And they probably should respect you at this point, but like you put it on them to be like, well, fuck. And obviously, since we're talking rank, they probably push into it, and you probably shoot a bunch of them, and you win the fight. But right now, like, I don't even know why this fight's still happening. Like, that Briggs should just fucking be dead. I don't know what they're doing. They lost a bunch of people. They're staggered. Like, it just isn't worth it to use it at that point. And I think, actually, do you lose this fight because I think your tank's feed the brains out, or is that the next fight? Oh, yeah, I think it's the one you lose. Because, yeah, your tanks just fucking feed. Like, you've won. Like, how do you lose when you've won? It's amazing. Yeah, like, how does Winston dead? Like, what the hell are you tanks doing? You got like 3 picks this fight and somehow you lose. And the monkey slept. What the hell are the tanks doing? I mean, there was an issue that you like forgot about enemy widow, which more or less just happened here. Because obviously enemy widow should be back by now. But at the same time, your tank's fed and you lost it anyway, so. Oh well. It's ranked for you. SMG widow. Fun. Moira really should have died though. Not your fault, but just oof. This is probably a better vision. I would have liked you to have been like on honestly a better position to take advantage of it, because we're like still on the low ground. I haven't really commented on that because I don't think that's necessarily a problem, because it's not like they have anything to really push you on low ground. Like anything you have to worry about can get to high ground. Like the Winston get to high ground, the Genji get to high ground. Like it doesn't really matter. It's not like you have a tracer or something that's gonna be an issue, but it's still more a matter of like sight lines and opportunity, because you pop it here, they're all over the place, but like you're not really in an advantage right now to take advantage of the infrasight. It would have been nice if you like had grapple, were already on high ground, where you could then reposition if you need to. You could more like effectively use it, because yeah, now you know where they're at, but what does it really get you? The person you shoot is someone you already saw, and then you get flanked by the Winston anyway. It's like, in an ideal world, you would have been on high ground with grapple, been able to reposition and get super aggressive, and then use that information that you have to start like picking people. Timing wise, like ignoring like cooldown positioning, like that was like okay because it was the start of the fight. Maybe a little bit earlier because it seemed like they were already committed to the fight. But that's more of like, it's kind of the let's actually I'm gonna go back a little bit. Like I don't know, like this whole fight's kind of a clusterfuck. So let's go farther back. Like, yeah, it's at this point is probably when you should be repositioning. You have grapple, you can do it. The fight's basically over in one. This is where, like, having the high ground matters, in the sense that it lets you, like, because high ground advantage isn't necessarily a matter of hitting shots sometimes. It's just a matter of it gives you more options. The obvious option is that you can just drop down for free, whereas if you want to get on high ground, you have to use a cooldown. But if you're already there at the start, you didn't use the cooldown, you have the cooldown again, so you can drop down for free and then go back up if you want to, and then use the cooldown for that. That's like usually the main advantage of high ground. And that's why you want it, even though you don't have to worry about a tracer flanking you and stuff like that. It's not really just to help your aim, because it's not super relevant here. Because even, yeah, like they don't have a Reinhardt anymore, so it's not even a matter of like trying to shoot around a shield or anything like that. Doesn't really matter. It's not about aiming, it's just about cooldown management and options. So this would be the time to reposition after you've already won this fight. So you use it to get super aggressive, but you don't really get anything. Like the Moira gets away. You do get the Brig, but it's more like preparing for next fight. Because now things get real messy. Genji's in. Like right now, like this is the other opportunity. Like you did go aggressive. You did get the pick. Okay, get on high ground right now. Like you did that. Now is the time to definitely pull back, get on high ground, get the position, because you have infrasight. Same. If you do it already, You don't even have to worry about Winston because he can't leap that far. That's the other thing. Like the high ground you probably get is that platform. You could do this one in front of you, but there is that one small platform all the way in the back that like parallels this spinny thing, fidget spinner. And then you can pop in for sight. And then if you need to, you could grapple onto the fidget spinner or this or whatever to actually take advantage of it for sight. So you have to like you're trying to reposition, you're trying to do all this shit, and for sight doesn't really get any value. So we switched to Tracer. Honestly, the Tracer pick doesn't really matter. Um, you usually don't. I don't think you do anything with Tracer. You kind of you shoot a bunch of people, they push you, you die, your team wins anyway. I don't think you needed to go to Tracer. Maybe you thought you needed to contest, and that would be the better thing. But the payload's nowhere near it. You don't even bother to contest because the payload's nowhere near it. You have other people to touch. I think it would have made more sense to honestly stay Widow and just clutch and get picks. Because at this point you have spawn advantage. So as long as someone on the enemy team dies, you probably win. This is like kind of more this is like a 2CP scenario where if they don't have 6 on the payload, the odds of them winning go down pretty drastically. Outside of ultimates and stuff like that, where they can wipe you really easily, which they don't have. They have no ults. They burned them all. So I think the staying Widow probably would have made more sense, unless you had the touch, but you didn't. Because yeah, you just get fucked up by Genji. Like, really, the most important thing here is getting picks. So you probably just stay Widow and shoot someone in the head. Because this is obviously a big chaotic fight where you should have an opportunity to click someone's head. Tracer would only have been important if you had to touch. Yeah, I don't think there's too much to say about that. I mean, the only issue is like you were focusing tanks a lot, which isn't super optimal. I mean, it's better to just pick off one shot one of the people you can one shot. But you put a lot of pressure on them. It's fine. It's more like a stylistic choice than anything. There was an opportunity that maybe if you took fewer shots, you could have popped the Yana sooner in the fight. But whatever. Obviously, it worked out fine. I don't agree with what happens here for a couple of reasons. One, we were already talking about how, massive positional advantage, right, of being outside and they don't know where you're at because you can be anywhere. Instead, you take the super aggressive position where, here's the thing. Like, you've fired a shot already, right, and you missed. But the fact that you missed isn't really the issue. The issue is more like you have chosen to shoot a Zarya. Like, do we care about Zarya in the slightest? Like, what does Zarya matter here? Like, if she goes in trying to contest, she's gonna feed her fucking brains out. Like, solo Zarya is fucking useless. Um, this is super aggressive. It's not a bad idea because again, it's surprising, right? This is very surprising. People coming out of here, they're just trying to get back as fast as possible. They've blown cooldowns. Like Genji is gonna meet. Oh, not even Genji. Um, yeah, like Widow isn't gonna be like expecting you to be here. Like she ain't gonna go around this corner like ready to snipe you. Like that's not gonna happen unless you fired a shot on a Zarya, and now she knows you're here. Like this is like you had it. Like the whole point of this is element of surprise, but now you've wasted the element of surprise trying to shoot Zarya. And yeah, the issues you missed, sort of, but who cares about Zarya when you want to kill like any of the supports or the DPS because they're the ones that are actually going to possibly win the recontest. They're the only ones who can. They have to pop off and actually kill your 5 people on the card to actually have any chance of winning it. So like Zarya ain't gonna do that. Zarya is fucking useless because she has no energy, right? She'll have to blow both bubbles to get any energy, and at that point she's defenseless anyway. She's dead. She's fodder. Completely irrelevant. This whole point would have been to kill a DPS for free or a support. So let the Zarya pass and wait for an actual target so that you could actually still have the element of surprise. Because yeah, see, Widow shot you, right? I don't even know where the fuck even was Widow. Where was she? Did you see her? Like I don't even see her. Okay, she's right there, right? It's, is that Widow? Anyway, okay, that is Widow. Is she actually stopped there waiting? Oh, I think she knows the fight's lost. Okay, that's what it is. Widow has already assumed the fight is lost and it's not going in. That explains that. Because she's like, this is stupid. I'm gonna wait again. Because we talked about that before. You shouldn't have gone in for the recontest. You should have gotten the better sniping position. That's what Widow. This is what Widow has chosen to do. Wait for this better sniping position. You fire a shot, she knows where you're at. So then she goes around and goes, oh, there's a Widow there, and you're not gonna expect their Widow to be there because this is a surprise, right? But you've already blown your surprise. So she actually goes for the shot and she almost fucking gets it. If you hadn't repositioned, because I don't think you knew she was around the corner, right? I don't know. I don't know what you're thinking right now, but my guess is you were just going to reposition because you know you missed your shot and you need to kill people now, and this was basically just luck. Because if you had stayed there, because let's say Genji was also there and you had just been like, oh, I missed Zarya, but now I'll just shoot Genji, or the other way around or whatever, you'd be dead. I feel like this is luck. Maybe you were like, oh, I blow it. I'm gonna move now, but I don't think you thought that. I think you I could be wrong, but I assume this was mostly luck that you didn't die here. You just wanted to reposition to shoot Zarya again. Did you fucking Genji blade this? It's just fucking. So yeah, if you're gonna go for the surprise, actually have it be surprising. Otherwise, just stay in the back and shoot them as they come in. Like again, they don't have a fucking like they have. I guess they have a Sigma, but his shield is kind of in this situation. His shield is worse because it's so easy for you to rotate in this massively open spot that Sigma will not keep constantly repositioning his shield in the middle of a fight. You could easily just walk around it and shoot him, based off of how angles work. Like, I'm not gonna explain that. You should be able to figure that out. Of how if you're farther away from a shield, it's far easier for you to rotate around it than if you're close to it.
No one can hide from my sight.
I'm gonna say this is really weird. Like you pop the vision and it's like okay, but you pop it. Did you look around? Like I feel like you popped it, but you were already committed to like grappling when you did it, and didn't really look at what you were going to do when you got up here. Like I feel like you were just gonna figure it out on your way up, which I find a little strange. Like you have vision, like take a second to figure it out, right? Because yeah, now you see the Zarya, but like I don't know. I don't know if you got all the information of where everyone else was. I don't know. Seems a little weird. But the timing of it, I think, is fine, more or less. I mean, I mean, they all just died. Like how recent was this? Let's go back. This is. I feel like this is someone I was thinking about. If your infrared, infrared sight timings could be better. So yeah, Genji just cleaned up a bunch of them. Zarya's running away. Yeah, like at least half of their team is respawning. Like 3 of them are still dead. right? Like you can't see this obviously in game, but like kill feed again, like they're on the kill feed still. They just die, they're still respawning. Actually, now that I think about it, if they, how does the kill feed timing and the respawn timing work? I'm assuming you leave the kill feed before you respawn, but now I'm just wondering if like I don't. Never mind, it is not important. Anyway, like three just died. You're popping in for sight for a team that can't possibly be in your line of sight, other than maybe a couple of them. It's probably too early. It's too early. Like yeah, you see the Zarya, but you knew Zarya was here already. Oh, they're okay. Their widow popped in for sight, which I have no idea why. Again, she did it too early. She just fucked that up. Like you've just won. You're all going to be on payload, waiting around the corner. Or they can't possibly hold forward. I don't know why she popped in for sight. She fucked it up. She fucked it up worse than you did. Like who is she going to shoot? But now you've popped it. I mean, they shouldn't be back by now. It's too early. You didn't need it for the Zarya. It only really makes sense to see where the enemy Widow is, but I feel like you popped it and immediately grappled, and you didn't know where Widow was until you were already grappled, right? Maybe you're processing the information really fast, and I'm stickling to this too much, but I feel as though you popped it and grappled and planned to figure out later. But if Widow was like up here, you would have already still grappled and then been like, oh shit, and then it would have been a matter of who shoots who first, because she would have seen you coming because she has infrasights up still. So a couple of things of make sure that their team is like most of them are actually possible to shoot, and two, like figure out what you're gonna do with the information before you act on it, because I feel like you were already grappling before you actually knew what you were getting into, even though you have all the information to see what you're getting into. And yeah, don't just pop infrasights because she did. Like that's like don't, because she fucked up her timing. She should not have popped infrasights. She completely wasted it. I don't know why she popped it there. Like we could say your timings have been a little bit scuffed. Hers was complete fucking garbage. I don't know why she did that. Positioning is like way too aggressive here. Also, did you like what? Like this is like another like low ground position of like it's kind of worse here because now they actually do have the Sigma shield, right? Like you want to be able to shoot above it theoretically. You want that option. You should be on high ground, and you should be concerned about the enemy widow. There is sort of a big brain idea of they did pop in for sight. If you have the timing down, you could be on low ground. Actually, she definitely doesn't have it yet because you're out of it now, or about to be. You could be on like low ground. You can kind of fake her out where you're in one position when you know she can see you, and then as soon as she can no longer see you, change that position. So she still might suspect you're in that position, and then but no, you're in a different one. Interesting way to big brain it, but like you're gonna be completely blocked by Sigma down here. You need to be on a high ground, and you need to be concerned of where the enemy widow has popped up. I don't know where she is or what she's doing right now, because I don't know, she took damage. I don't know, like, but you should be concerned about it. Like you're just uselessly popping into the shield. Like be worried about Widow. She could pop out of this high ground, which is where I would expect her to be, which is why I'm confused on where she's at, because I would expect her to already be on this window, ready to shoot you in the head. Why it hasn't happened yet, I'm not sure. I guess she's playing with team, but that's just strange to me. Like I think, oh no, she's up there now. But okay, I guess she went. Oh, whoops, that was a mistake. I guess she went and thought, surprise, I'm gonna be up here. That must have been what she did, because that's the obvious choice. She must have went for the surprise choice. But I don't think being down here is wise. And I guess that just as a fubbed grapple, I assume you wanted to be on that high ground. Because this positioning is, again, I don't think this positioning is very good. Like, yeah, you can kind of see in this here, but I'm assuming you wanted to be on the high ground. Because now you're just like trapped in here, and then yeah, he just drops down and kills you. If you would have been up on the high ground, maybe you can shoot the high noon, shoot people coming in. Could have shot Widow. Like just be on the high ground in that situation.
Here I am.
Again, start on high ground, drop down if you need to. Sure, it can be obvious, but this goes back to like defenders. Like I don't know, like you could be anywhere. Sure, I would expect you to be up there, but you get first shot at enemy window directly. So what does it matter? You have the aim. We swap to Mercurio. I guess I can kind of see it. Sigma shield being a bit of a pain in the ass. You don't have any damage to break it. Like, you have no damage on this team to break the shield, so... Yeah, and he can just have it up. Yeah, this makes sense. At first, I didn't really, like, quite get why you did... Because it's like, you only had, like, really one bad fight as Widow. So I'm like, Mercurio... No, actually, no, I kind of get it. The Sigma shield actually was pretty much prom. I like this change. And you just walk through it, you shoot him, you know. Even ignoring the res there, I actually think wasn't really a bad idea. Like, McCree is, like, if she's resing what, Sigma? Who gives a fuck? McCree is the only one who's going to stop you guys there. If he just pops off and kills everybody. Sigma gets res, just shoot him again. It's way more dangerous to have McCree on the high ground behind you guys than anything else. I do like that every time you've switched off Widow, the enemy is also switched off Widow. It's like, oh, I don't have to be Widow anymore, thank God. So, this is probably the game-ending fuck-up. Where if this had not happened, you guys probably win. I was actually surprised you guys lost this. You have 2 minutes and you're like already almost there, and I'm like, how the fuck do you lose this? But it's basically right here. Yeah, like right there. So you saw Azari up there. Maybe it didn't register. It's really weird. Like, but you saw her. She had a big bubble and everything. I can only assume it just, I don't know. You just like didn't notice. Because then you don't turn around until she starts shooting you, and you have no bullets, and it's a real bad time. Take 2 shots, you have to reload, waste the flashbang. If you had all 6 shots, you flashbang, you fan, she's almost dead. Roll 1 or 2 shots, she's dead then, depending on the headshot. You could have deleted her immediately if you had all 6 shots in your gun and you flashbang fanned. Even though she's fairly high charged for some reason. I don't know how she's like decently charged. And then you die. Mercy does not res you right away for some reason. I have no idea why. Maybe she didn't have it yet? Maybe just someone was critical. And then this is like the other mistake, you immediately high noon, which is good, but then you fire too soon and get nothing for it. Actually, wait a minute. Shouldn't you have... Who was up top that, like, didn't get shot? Oh, it was Doomfist and he died. Okay, Winston killed him. Okay, that's what that was. So you high noon, but then you immediately fire it, and then don't get anything out of it. I guess you saw the skull on the Doomfist, didn't realize that he was already almost dead, and fired thinking you'd at least get that. But if you had just held high noon a little longer, maybe you were able to get something out of it. Because what was really going to stop you? Worst case scenario, Ana sleeps you, but okay. You just sleep up here then. Like, not ideal, but, you know, you're not dead. She can't, like, no one can kill you up here. That's like honestly, this whole bit of Macrio is pretty much a cavalcade of like yikes and shit. Um, this just goes wrong pretty much every way. Even this, like you drop down, don't really have a clear sightline on what you're dropping on. Like you don't see on it. Like you kind of know they're there, but you don't see them. And you end up missing the flashbang because she was closer to you than you'd expected. You thought she'd be over here, which would have made sense, but she's over here. And that's Moira, and she just like fades away. I don't even know where the hell happened to Ana. I guess Ana pushed in, and Moira was in front of you. I don't know. That's weird. But you missed the flashbang, so you don't get anything. And now you end up rolling, and you're like, oh fuck. Zarya kills you again. This is a big old oof. So, I mean, it was weird that Zarya was up there. Like, that was weird, but you did see her. Like, she was in clear view. I could only assume it just didn't register that she was there, which, you know, it's understandable. But, um, that's the beginning of, like, if all of that had not happened, you win this. Honestly, you should have fanned instead of trying to go for the headshot. I mean, you missed the headshot, but fan does 300 damage. Headshot does 140. Fan. Have all 6 shots and fan. Like Zarya only has 400 health. Fan roll. Yeah, sure she bubbles, but she's critical at that point. And the fact that she was already taking damage, I guess, because you didn't get that shot, right? Yeah, she's already almost dead. If you fan, she's dead. Fan. Fan. Don't feel bad for flash fanning. Like, you know, you don't. Just fan. Because she's fucking dead here. You fan. You go for the fancy ass headshot. You miss, and even if you had hit, I think she still lives, probably, right? Well, maybe not. You should have fanned. Just fan. 300 damage. If Ana would have healed her, like, she still, like, lives, even though you headshot, like, fan. It's 300 damage. So it's absurd how much damage fan hammer does. It's actually more efficient to it's like it's more damage to constantly fan the hammer than it is to actually shoot. It's what you actually should do against shields is fan the hammer. If all you wanted to do was just do damage to shields, you just fan the hammer and keep reloading. And yeah, if you can get every headshot, then it's probably more damage to not do it. But like in that situation where you have her dead to rights, just fucking fan and delete her. This isn't deathmatch where you want to style on people and get like better aim and get good. Like do with what will work. Don't be minimalist when you need to guarantee like victory. Yeah, Doomfist is a fun character, by the way. Like that was a good flank. That was really good against Diana, but then like fucking Doomfist. I don't think there's any way you could have. Boom, boom. Like there was only a tiny split-second window where you might have been able to see Doomfist coming at you, and then yeah, you just fucking fuck Doomfist. Yeah. This was like it's funny that most of the time you're on Widow, but like this is honestly this sequence is where everything goes horribly wrong. I I only assume you just didn't notice her. Because if you, assuming you did notice her, let's say you did notice her and you're just like, whatever. Or maybe you don't even know the map that well. Because, I mean, honestly, who the fuck's ever up here? Like, you just didn't realize the door was here. I don't know. But yeah, this is low value. It's also really long range. Like, I think this is outside your um, fall off, so you're not doing super, super damage on him. Like, push that Zarya. Like, just, again, fan the hammer's 300 damage. It's most of her health. You probably just would kill her. Especially since she just used personal. She doesn't have it. So if you had just yeeted into her, walked right up to her, fanned, flash fanned, and then you just shoot her and she's dead. Like, she got the advantage on you. That's why she wins. Also, Mercy doesn't heal you. That's also another unfortunate thing. Mercy had just, like, fucking healed you right. Like, she flew up to you with the heals, but then she stopped healing you and started healing Winston. Look at this. It's like, he's like almost full. He still has armor. What the fuck is Mercy doing? And you die. If she would have kept healing, you probably would have lived. And she wouldn't have to res. And then, like, Ana would have more health. And Reinhardt would have health. Reinhardt probably doesn't. Yeah, Reinhardt might not have died if she didn't have to res you. Like, Mercy fucks up here too. I'm looking at it. Like, it's a pretty big fuck up. She can keep healing you. Reinhardt dies. But, you know, this is actually, this whole sequence is where the game actually gets lost. You could, I don't know if it would have been worth it to go back to Widow. They have the Doomfist, which is a little dicey. But they got rid of the Sigma though. It's just Reinhardt now, so I don't know. But yeah. I think that's all we got. I would say infrasites are probably one of the bigger things. And more minorly is just kind of think about positioning more, how it relates to the Widow v Widow, stuff like that. Yeah, I think that's it. Hopefully this helped a little bit.